The engine is starting up. 3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to True Crime Wednesday night. We are streaming live on the R.I.F.T Nation Network. I'm your host, Joni Skinner. We are live on Facebook and YouTube for another Astrology Meets True Crime episode this evening. And tonight's episode is on the life and the trial of little baby Evelyn Boswell. Her mother's trial began February 5th, just wrapped up last week. We're going to go over her story on her tragic life. It was a really sad trial as well. It was a hard trial to keep up with because you'll see when we get into the details of the story. Thanks, Sir Keith. Come on in, everybody. I hope y'all are staying warm and you're not getting blasted with too much snow. I know it's all over the place right now. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Hi, Miss Lee. How are you, hon? Hi, Miss Linda. Hello, Miss Denise. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thanks. Thank you, Linda. Thanks, hon. Linda liked and shared. So come on in, everybody. I want to give you guys little bit of information on the life and trial of baby Evelyn Boswell. It's very, very sad case to cover. And I don't really, we didn't cover this case when baby Evelyn went missing. I don't really remember it making a lot of social media, but it may have. And it was just one of those cases where there was another case going on and it just got missed. She was missing for, um, you know, about a month, but I really don't remember too much information regarding this case until the trial came up. I don't know about you guys. I know Tammy followed the trial. Did anybody, Lee, did you follow, anybody else in the chat follow the trial? We'll go over it. It was a complicated trial. We'll touch on some of the information. I didn't get any timestamps because of the fact that Evelyn's mother, Megan, actually changed her story 10 times. 10 times to investigators before. This case was in Blunteville, Tennessee, and I'm not going to knock law enforcement in Tennessee, but we've seen the Sebastian Rogers case down in Tennessee where that has gone nowhere. Summer Wells case in Tennessee, nowhere. And I cannot imagine that Megan, Evelyn's mother, told law enforcement 10 times, 10 different stories. She actually threw her mother under the bus and had her mother arrested, saying that her mother had taken baby Evelyn. Come to find out, her mother had not taken baby Evelyn. But yet, nothing was done. They arrested Megan for false police reports, but they did not charge her with the actual homicide of the child until they found baby Evelyn. 10 times. Yeah, more than, well, they gave that's what the law enforcement are saying. There were 10 accounted different stories, but we do know she lied more than that, was caught. I don't know how she didn't get charged with the homicide, but down in Tennessee, for whatever reason, I don't understand what they do down in Tennessee. Like I said, we had Summer Wells case is still open. Sebastian Rogers is still open. We had mixed messages with Sebastian's case where, the dog had a track on Sebastian, then there wasn't. Remember the flashlights and the mysterious lights, and then the mystery car, and then it was this and that. And that case has never gone anywhere. Summer Wells's case has never gone anywhere. And I wonder, had baby Evelyn's remains not been found, had Megan not been charged? It was Tennessee. And I will say this, Tommy, baby Evelyn's grandpa, and the mother and father were instrumental in having their daughter basically arrested, because the grandfather allowed the police back on the property at all times to search, and he even told them, I saw her back by her old playhouse. They went back in, although cadaver dogs had been around the area, and they found baby Evelyn's remains. So had they not found her, once again, it's like, come on, Tennessee, get it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just don't understand it. Same thing with Sebastian Rogers' case and Summer Wells' case. Children. It's if you're a missing child in Tennessee, good luck. But and then after we go through that, I want to show you guys something very, very interesting that I discovered today. It's kind of a little rabbit hole that I went down because I like rabbit holes. And I think you're going to find this chart that after we look at Evelyn's case, very interesting. It has to do with current events that are going on right now around us. So, hi, Michelle. How are you, hon? How's the weather down there? Are you guys in a lot of cold weather too? I know we are, and snow. It hasn't really stopped snowing since like after Christmas. I'm done with it. I'm just finished with it. I don't want to see any more snow. I'm done. But let's get started because I want to show you guys the rabbit hole as well. It's pretty interesting stuff. So this is the life and the trial of, she was 18 months, little baby. She was a baby. She was a toddler. So the last time the family, meaning the immediate family saw baby Evelyn was at Thanksgiving in 2019. That was the last time that grandma and grandpa saw baby Evelyn. Okay, this is her baby Evelyn's mother, Megan. And Megan liked to go in front of the media. And Megan liked to tell all kinds of stories. And she was good at them. She was always in front of the media giving another story or two or three or four. Apparently not too mentally stable. What happened, she's a young girl. At 17, she became pregnant with baby Evelyn. She alleges that her father, his name is Ethan, and that he is active in the service. He was active in the service. He was not a part of Evelyn's life. But who even knows if that's true too? Nothing she says you can believe. So her father put her into foster care when she was 17 because she wouldn't go to school. And she came back to live. They lived on what was called the Boswell family compound, where he had 11 acres, the father did. And they had trailers. He would rent out trailers to people. He would let families stay. And it was called the Boswell family. Now, Blountville, Tennessee, is right on the border between Tennessee and where Virginia comes down and meets Tennessee at the Blue Ridge Mountains. So you have Kentucky, Tennessee, and then Virginia. And West Virginia's up here, and that's Appalachia right there. And so it's around down in Appalachia area. So what had happened is Evelyn's friends started to ask her where my bad, not Evelyn, Megan's friends, my bad. Megan's friends started to ask her where baby Evelyn was. They wanted to see her. And a babysitter claims that she last saw Evelyn on December 9th or 10th. So with that being said, the dates changed, and it's like Tammy said, if you watch this trial, the main thing of the trial was trying to keep up with Megan's lies, really. So here we go. Tammy said DNA proved he was not her bio father. He said he never believed it because she got pregnant while he was on active duty. Yeah, everything was not the truth, almost to the point where I don't know how you felt, Tammy, but I felt like she really had some mental issues with the compulsive lying, very mental. So what happened is Megan started a job, and she started to date the owner of the restaurant that she worked at. Now, he claimed he had never met Evelyn. So the time frame with Evelyn is pretty off. So we're at the end, like towards the end of December. And Megan kept telling people, no, Ethan's got Evelyn, it's a custody issue, blah, blah, blah. And the grandfather started to worry. The grandfather started to question her. So what happened is Megan again gets pulled into the police. She tells the police that they need to look out for a BMW gray. They find the BMW. She said that's who has baby Evelyn. They found and look at all these goose chases that she had sent law enforcement on. So they find the BMW, and that is Megan's mother and the mother's boyfriend. They had the BMW. They said, we don't have Evelyn, and we did not steal this vehicle. So they arrested those two, right? Megan gets arrested for providing false reports. She has still not been charged with the baby's disappearance. Okay. So we have one lie after the next continuously. And it does, doesn't it, Michelle? It reminded me of Casey Anthony as well. It did. So we will move forward to February. And Grandpa said he remembered a time when Megan was back by the playhouse that she used to play in when she was a child. Now, they had already searched this area and had found nothing. Well, on March the 6th, 2020, they found the remains of baby Evelyn wrapped in aluminum foil, her upper area, face down in a garbage can with a blanket and in a trash bag. And her cause of unalive was asphyxiation, but that's what asphyxiation. So Megan was charged 11 counts. She was charged with unalive, not reporting a death, just a slew of charges. And she again said that the boyfriend was at her house. He had accidentally rolled over on Evelyn, and that's how Evelyn had unalived. And they panicked. Of course, the police didn't believe it. So, I mean, if you guys want to add any more to this, it was just a very sad situation where you have a young girl that was 17 years old. She got pregnant. She did not have the best situation growing up. Now, there is a picture of the compound where people lived in trailers. And at the trial, they had a lot of witnesses that came in and said that Evelyn was always pretty dirty. Evelyn was, she was dirty. And when they cleaned out the trailer when she left, it was filth and garbage. And so, I mean, unless you guys want to add anything else to the fact, I know her grandfather originally called CPS to report that the child was missing. And then the police issued the Amber Alert the following day on February the 18th. So I did not have a good timestamp whatsoever because, the babysitter said she last saw Evelyn on December the 9th. And Megan said this occurred on December 26th. So we never really did get any type of a time. But it's such a very tragic story of such a beautiful child. And the jury came back and convicted Megan of all counts. Now I don't know why they didn't. I think she had some very bad mental issues, very mental issues. Tammy, I agree with you. I mean, I think it was very clear she was only 18, but she threw her upside down. Yes, because she was alive when she threw her in. But right, but that they believe that. They assume that. They never, yeah, they said asphyxiated, but there were different theories with that as well too. It was very heartbreaking. Um, her friends loved the child. Grandpa loved the child. And there's a picture of the playhouse back there. It's just a very sad case. And I mean, it's just a case where a child had a child and not much of, I don't know. And then the entire town was just devastated, just absolutely devastated over this child being gone. And there's another picture of her, and I know it is horrific. And I know Megan is what you would say could be like a monster. But I really can't help but not feeling bad for people that have really bad mental issues and that go unchecked, because she apparently did. She did it with all of her boyfriends. And I mean, there were other signs that this girl was just not mentally there, but there were so many different stories you couldn't keep up with it that she had told. My thing is, why did the police allow that to go on for so long? I don't know. That was where I kept getting a little frustrated. And they knew she was making it up. She was convicted of all the counts by the jury. And her friends were devastated because her friends, Megan's friends, loved Evelyn. And the trailer was just beyond filth what you could live in for that and a child. Grandpa paid for everything. So it's just a very sad case. Very sad case. So I used this as the chart, and it's very, when we have either a toddler or a small child, okay, we always use the moon for the victim. Okay. I didn't have a time to do an event chart. So I used her natal chart, Baby Evelyn's natal chart, and I looked at the transits that day. Now, as we talked before, she was not that old. So what happens, the outer planets do not move that quickly in a natal chart. But, I've always said it. I said it last week too. Pluto and Saturn were sitting. They were there. Pluto and Saturn. Saturn were right on her natal south node, which would be lost, and on Baby Evelyn's, and they were opposing the north node. And that always is triggered in a chart where there's death. In the neighborhood, I mean, it's all there. It's just a very sad chart. Grandpa's up at the midheaven. You know, Mars was up. Yeah, it's a sad chart, even for her. Neptune was hadn't moved either. Uranus hadn't moved either. The only real thing would have been the Pluto and Saturn on her natal south node. It was right. She was born with it there, actually. But Saturn and Venus would have moved. Those are the ones that moved and triggered it, probably, because Pluto was born right there. So it's just, that is the natal chart that, you can look at the natal chart and you just kind of, the nodes are triggered. We don't really know the circumstances of what happened because she never has told anything. Because she's lied. So, Uranus, so that was her chart. Of course, the lunar nodes were triggered. So I just thought, it's just such a very sad true crime case. But I knew that you guys we had all been kind of watching the trial. I know, Tammy, you had too. And it did remind me a lot of the Casey Anthony case. And it is very, very sad. So just prayers to Grandpa Tommy, and Baby Evelyn. It's a sad case. It's a shame that, I kind of wish that, how could people have stepped in, right? How could people have stepped in? But I wanted to bring you guys this little bit of information because I went down a rabbit hole this afternoon, because I have always watched for, the border and the children for decades. Decades and decades, I have watched. I know all the hubs for trafficking. I know, I've done it my entire life. So I know where they're at in the states. I know the highways. I know the areas. And I know about the NGOs, which are non-government. Let me get rid of that. Sorry about that. And what happens is, what's happening here in the States for our friends in Canada, we are in the middle of a firestorm with what has been called USAID, going under the cover of that's supposed to be our aid for catastrophes or what have you. And it goes under the guise of NGOs, which have facilitated trafficking by the Darien Gap for years now. So I followed the money trail, and I wanted to show you guys exactly how a U.S. aid goes to an NGO and how it ends up and where it ends up. And this is the office that got $500 million of U.S. aid. Now, as you can see, the name of the company is called Internews Network. Who is Internews Network? If they get U.S. aid, I would assume that would be a place that if there's an earthquake, or if there is this, or if there is that, something going on, and, another country needs what have you, water or food or diapers or anything, that we said, shots, anything like that. No. What happens with this is what happens with trafficking. They hide under the guise, under U.S. aid, under what are called NGOs. These are nonprofit organizations. There are thousands of them. Thousands, thousands and thousands of them. Okay. I'm going to tell you about Internews Network. Internews Network received a grant from USAID for $500 million. What is Internews Network? Internews Network is a company that owns 4,291 media outlets. They have trained over 9,000 journalists throughout the world. They have offices all over the world. In Kiev, Ukraine. Remember what I've said about Ukraine. In Kiev, and this is their main billing office, as you can see, abandoned in December of 2024 in the middle of California. And you can see the sign is Internews. Looks pretty trashy to me. Nothing that a huge multi-million-dollar, $500 million operation would have. Subsidies are, guess where? In the Cayman Islands. Isn't that interesting? What does Internews Network do? It hides under the guise that they also help with catastrophes, which you hear how much money they gave out for catastrophes. They used $8 million in payroll and staff in 2023. $8 million for staff. What do? They go around and train journalists that are on free independent media channels. Like I said, office in Kiev. This is $500 million of U.S. taxpayer dollars. Subsidiaries in the Cayman Islands, office in Kiev. Here's their main office in California. The CEO makes $500,000 a year. They gave out emergency aid of $76,000 in 2023. Well, the Clinton Foundation got $10 million. That's a little weird. Clinton Global Initiative got $10 million from them. So as you can see, we are stepping down and we're hiding behind a lot of companies. So USAID thinks that, oh, this is a company that's got 30 offices. What do? They don't pay attention. $500 million. They paid out $76,000. Don't know what it was because it's not listed. They're very supportive of social media censorship. That's what they teach. They teach green energy for journalists, 9,000 throughout the world. They support social media censorship. There's a person called Richard Kessler involved with this particular group. He's a big political donor. So now we know that Kiev has an office. Cayman Islands are involved. They have the subsidiaries, so imagine they've got money in those accounts because that's where they go, is the Cayman Islands. $8 million for staff, $76,000 for aid for people around the world that needed food, and the rest was on travel. That's how these places are laundering, fraudulently taking our tax money. That's what they're doing. This is their office. Look, Internews. They've even got a sign. The majority of these places don't even have signs. You can look them up. This is all public record. You can pull every bit of this up. It's all public, but you have to go from NGO to NGO, and they weave and they web all through there. The Clinton Global Initiative got 84 million from different places like Internews Network, giving them 10 million. This is the biggest laundering that we will ever see. There's no doubt about it. I know it because I've seen what these places do. I've seen how they've hidden by the Darien Gap to get people. When people were at the Darien Gap, they would get washed. Denise is right. Wash, rinse, and repeat. It's beyond what they're hitting and people are going through a lot of these now and coming up with many, many, many. And it's billions and it's gonna end up to be trillions because they continue to find them. But this is just one where I'm tired of hearing, oh, it's all this aid. Well, $76,000 worth of aid. We don't know what the aid was, but that's what they put in their paperwork. So got to believe them. They went to the World Economic Forum in Davos. They traveled there. Their CEO makes $500,000 a year. Doesn't sound like, when I was little, we used to collect money in these little boxes for UNICEF. When we were little and we were in the Girl Scouts, and we get our money boxes for UNICEF because we knew it went to help other children. This is the saddest thing I have ever seen happen in this country. It is heartbreaking. But I wanted to show you this wonderful office. And this is just a little tiny rabbit hole that takes 5 minutes to look up. They do have to put addresses. Majority of them, when you go to Google and find addresses, there's no buildings there. But they have media outlets. So they are our tax money under the guise of helping other people has got 4,291 radio stations. So, reaching 788 million people worldwide. They support social media censorship. 4,799 hours of broadcast time. So, there's your rabbit holes, you guys. Anybody can go. Anybody can start looking them up. There's tons of them. So, and I know you're not hearing. Okay, it's outrageous. The size. It's not waste. It's laundering. To report the news that pushing towards reporting the same. That's it. That was through. Oh, yes, that's happening too. Clinton found to rebuild. Well, I remember when that occurred. I remember when that happened. Okay. When that happened, it was very, very tragic. And Keith, you're probably too young, but I remember when that occurred. There were so many donations. Billions of dollars was supposed to go to Haiti. They saw nothing. Nothing was built in Haiti. Nothing. It was never rebuilt. Nothing. And the Haitian people will tell you that. They took over the only gold mine that was down there. And Hillary Clinton's brother still has the rights to that gold mine that those people should have the rights to in Haiti. So it'll all, I'm telling you, this rabbit hole is just going to get teaching how to was money. Yep. So it's just one of those you can support by sending stars. It's appreciated. Yeah, Keith says to send stars and stuff. Agreed, Denise. Wash. Yes. So that's where you can, if you want to go look, you can go look it up. It's online. You can go through your own rabbit holes, see where stuff is being sent. Go look up the offices. This office was abandoned in December of 2024. Now, why was that abandoned? Be more than trillions. Yes, it will. It's been a lot of years, Denise. But I think it's interesting to do it and show people. It'll be more than interesting. So I thought that was interesting for y'all to see. Do you guys have anything else in the chat you want to? And there's another missing persons case that Nancy Grace was reporting on that I'm going to report on as well too. So that's coming up. So and we've got a lot of new shows on the R.I.F.T too that are coming up. Does anybody else have anything in the chat? Denise, they knew about the fires is why they left. This wasn't close to the fires. This is not even close to the fires. Good excuse. They left in December. The fires just happened. So that's what's happening here, Miss Denise. You guys, it's interesting because you can jump down a lot of rabbit holes. And if you like to go down rabbit holes, go to the page and start looking stuff up. You can find it. There are thousands and thousands of NGOs that really need to be completely disabled and dismantled. They're just shell companies. That's all they are. It's just shell companies. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But that's what we're going through here, kids. But to say that it's not happening is just putting your head in the sand. Probably. That could be it. Yeah, that could be it. There's one that just broke on one in Atlanta for $20 billion, I believe, for housing development down in Atlanta where a house has never been built. That just broke as well. No, I have not. I don't know who Ayla Reynolds is. I don't know who Ayla Reynolds is. Who is Ayla Reynolds, Lee? I don't know. I don't know, hon. I haven't done it, so I have not done it. No. No. The cases that I have worked on, I can't they're kind of ongoing right now, so I can't share them. 2011, no. I don't know anything about where that was, 2011. And, it's really difficult with those older cases to find and get accurate timestamps. And like we've said before with forensic astrology, if I don't have an accurate timestamp, it doesn't work. They simply don't work. You guys can tell, you've seen enough of them that when I have a perfect timestamp, they're perfect. They will take you exactly to where the remains of somebody are if the timestamp is perfect. But in 2011, I doubt if there's even a timestamp. We've got a lot that go missing. I know. There's 300,000 missing right now that we probably won't find. So, I mean, if there's a good timestamp, I'll do it, but it's got to be a good timestamp. And back to 2011, I doubt if they've got a good timestamp. It's crucial when you do anything in astrology to have accurate times because everything is done mathematically, especially with a map. We really, if we guess, it's just a guess to even send searchers out. And it's like, you can even let Tammy can tell you this. It might look like it's not that far off on a map, but when you're down there in the brush and in the woods and this map is a mile off, it's a lot for searchers. You got to be exactly accurate for search and rescue. But I'm not familiar with that case. Where was it? It seems like missing person cases get a lot quieter in the winter. Check the next morning. I don't know. I've never what city? I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it. That we have one missing right now because Nancy Grace just was reporting on it tonight earlier, and they found some of her clothing, the gal that was missing. So I'm going to look at that one tomorrow. But Nancy Grace just reported on that one. But other than that, there's really, we had there's no trials going on either, really. All the other trials are over too. I mean, we had the baby's trial and that was it. Just rabbit holes to dive into like this, like Internews Network. These are good rabbit holes. I'm not familiar with it in Maine. Does anybody else have anything in the chat they want to share or talk about? I'll work on that one that Nancy Grace was reporting on this week. Waterville, Maine. No, I'm not familiar. Well, you guys have a great week. Try to stay out of trouble. I'm going to jump down some more of these rabbit holes. And, when you go from these NGOs and they're about 30 deep. They can get about 20 deep. And they're all the same CEOs and administrators. Isn't that interesting? There's going to be some shakeups over this. It's coming because this can't go on like this. It's just theft. It's pure theft. So let's just hope they get it straightened out and get it fixed. You're welcome. You guys have a great week. Jump down some of these rabbit holes. They're interesting to go and find. They always come back to the same places. But you guys stay safe this week. If you're in a flood or a rainy zone, snow zone, be careful. We're so tired of snow. But have a great week, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. Good night.